Good morning, this is KELOLAND on the go with all you need to know in news and weather as you start your day.
A New Underwood man will spend more than a decade behind bars for a deadly shooting. A judge sentenced 30-year-old William Hopkins to 16 years behind bars for second-degree manslaughter. In November 2022, Hopkins shot and killed 28-year-old John Walter II while cleaning a gun. Hopkins then told someone to get rid of the gun and asked them to tell law enforcement that another person shot Walter.
Governor Kristi Noem is back on the road promoting her book, No Going Back. Yesterday, she attended an event in Florida sponsored by a group supporting Donald Trump. Those attending paid $50 for a signed book or $150 for a photo with Noem and a book. Some residents in the city of Wildwood, where the event was held, protested the event, holding signs that read, quote, "Kristi, please don't shoot," which is a reference to the section of the book where Noem detailed the shooting of her 14-month-old hunting dog.
Well, it bothered me when they were talking about it and they said, you know, why would she tell everybody that she hated this dog? But then when I saw her in an interview and she was like, no, the dog was nasty. The dog killed the animals, so who knows?
The book continues to get poor reviews on Amazon. At last check, it was getting 2.1 out of 5 stars with just under 100 reviews.
The Secretary of State's office is looking into a series of calls made to people who signed the abortion rights petition. The office issued a warning saying that scam callers claiming they're with the Secretary of State's office were pushing callers to challenge the petition. KELOLAND News spoke with South Dakota Representative John Hansen, who told us that volunteers for his new PAC, South Dakota Petition Integrity, were making calls to petition signers. However, Hansen disputes a claim that any of his volunteers said they were affiliated with the Secretary of State's office. KELOLAND News has also confirmed that the South Dakota Division of Criminal Investigation has been asked to look into the issue. You can learn more about this developing story in a KELOLAND.com original, Investigation by Jacob Newton, online now. Now let's check in with meteorologist Scott Munt, expecting more hazy skies leading maybe into some rain later, Scott?
We're watching hazy sunshine eastern South Dakota for today. Western KELOLAND, a good chance to see rain as we hit the late morning hours and for the afternoon. That rain will move in the central and south central South Dakota for this evening, and we'll probably see that across the east for tomorrow. Now, in the meantime, today we'll have highs in the 70s in central and eastern KELOLAND, 60-degree weather in western South Dakota. More details on your forecast with Brian coming up.
Thank you, Scott. The law enforcement torch run kicked off yesterday in Spearfish. With the South Dakota Special Olympics scheduled to begin Thursday, the torch run started its trek across the state in the Black Hills. The event helps raise money for athletes and events across the state.
It's an amazing experience. We travel across the state of South Dakota, bringing inclusion and awareness to Special Olympics. It's an amazing thing to run with the police officers in every community throughout the state, along with the athletes as well, and of course visit all the school districts.
More than 100 people participated at each stop during day one. The torch run continues today in Pierre on its way to Vermilion, where the games will be held Thursday through Saturday.
Dakota Dachshund Rescue has resumed its Find the Queen of Hearts fundraiser. This spring, the top prize starts at $10,000. 53 cards, including the 2 jokers, remain in the deck, and eventually someone will take home 50% of the jackpot, while the other half will benefit Dakota Dachshund Rescue.
So everybody buys a ticket, we put the tickets in the tumbler, roll it, pull it out, and we open the envelope, and if the queen is there, they're going to win half the jackpot. If not, the jackpot continues on, and the game continues on, and the jackpot grows.
The drawings will rotate every Tuesday between Obscure Brewing Company and Lupulin Brewing in Sioux Falls. This week's drawing is at 7-11 tonight at Lupulin Brewing. Tickets are $5 a piece or 5 for $20 and can be purchased online. We've provided a link with a QR code under this story on KELOLAND.com.
The Flying for Life blood drive is boosting the blood supply for local patients. The drive kicked off yesterday and continues through Saturday. Community Blood Bank Executive Director Ken Versteeg says there's a decent supply of blood on hand now, but donations tend to decrease in the summer.
This is an opportunity for people to say, okay, let's kick off the summer the right way. Let's give a unit of blood and start the summer off right. If you donate now, you can also turn around and donate in August again, just before going back. The kids go back to school again.
The drive is also a friendly competition between Sanford AirMed and Avera Care Flight. To find more locations to donate this week, use the link with this story right here on KELOLAND.com. And that's a look at some of our top stories.
Now let's get one last look at your weather with meteorologist Brian Karstens. Brian?
All right, our weather forecast today, a little bit of thunderstorm activity in the outlook for south central, southwestern South Dakota. That marginal risk is there for some severe weather. I just don't think it's going to be a widespread event. We do expect some patches of rain, though, the next 24 to 36 hours. And just looking at futurecasts where there are some alignments of these thunderstorm clusters, you'll notice these darker green areas, and there's a little more of a consistency on that band from the southwest into the Pierre area and eventually connecting the dots up here through Aberdeen. And then a separate zone that fires a little closer to I-29 tomorrow. So the point of this story is basically to communicate that there are some gaps in between these areas of rain. Not everybody's going to get a lot of rain out of this system, but where it does rain, there'll be some streaks in here that'll likely pick up some half-inch to 1-inch totals. And then we'll continue to monitor exactly where those are located on the various maps here. Now, this is the hour-by-hour forecast, and it wants to highlight the Black Hills first here as we go through the early afternoon. Showers, thunderstorms there in western South Dakota, and then it tends to move a little bit farther east here as we get through the overnight tonight and first thing tomorrow morning. Sioux Falls, I do think we'll have a little better chance of rain tomorrow. We'll see how much the rain actually affects the temperature. You can see the 50s there by midday, and we're still forecasting warmer than that for highs, but I just want to put that out there too, that the cloud cover, the overcast skies, and then any scattered rain, it does pull some weight down on our temperature potential. There are those scattered storms, a little better formation there, southwest Minnesota into northwest Iowa tomorrow afternoon. So there you go. That's the upfront forecast. In terms of the big picture, this system will move out Thursday, Friday. We tend to warm up ahead of another system, another Canadian low, right there by the kickoff of the weekend. That could produce a couple of streaks of showers and thunderstorms. So we do have at least some 20 and 30% chances of that. And then the more significant story is a larger low pressure center right there across the west, and that does develop here as we get into the kickoff of next week. And of course, a system like that in mid to late May, obviously a lot of details to watch, but that can produce some strong to severe weather. So a few days out, we're not going to worry about that yet, but just kind of keeping that in the back of our minds. Temperature today is 77 in Chamberlain, 72 our high temperature in Watertown. Here's a look at the 7-day forecast, and into the 80s by Friday, and then we'll tend to pull back a little bit by Sunday and Monday, but nothing drastic there. Those chances of rain are in the weekend forecast, and at this point, we still have some work to do to kind of hone in on the best timing of that. Aberdeen might have actually a better chance up front at the beginning of the weekend, and then late Sunday or into Monday, we may end up shifting that 30% there, maybe backlog that another day there in the forecast. Pierre and central South Dakota, after a little cooler weather tomorrow and the scattered rain, I expect a break on Thursday, a warm up for Friday. That also holds true for Rapid City. And then the weekend, yeah, those 30% chances of showers and thunderstorms on Saturday. Check out all the details online at KELOLAND.com.